Maybe somebody in your life decided to call it quits, and maybe it's affecting you more than you realize.
You find something you care about, and it's taken from you.
This is how you deal with the betrayal of a breakup. But first, what is a breakup? Because not all breakups are betrayals. Sometimes a breakup can be mutual, and both parties agree they're not meant to be in a relationship together, whether it be business or professional.
You know what? I don't think this partnership is working.
But it's that unexpected, one-sided breakup that I'm talking about. It's where one person exclusively decides this relationship is no longer working out.
I think we should break up.
And sometimes it blindsides you, in which case, the breakup feels like a betrayal. It feels like you've misplaced your trust in someone, and that's painful. Trust is an emotional dependence on somebody. We put our faith in hoping that person won't lie, cheat, steal, or abandon us. But sometimes the other person has to leave. Maybe a buildup of over years, a slow pushing away from one party. For example, I had to leave a business partnership once because the other person would not fulfill promises. They were verbal promises, but if I can't trust you, I can't have a relationship with you. This need to trust and believe in somebody is a very strong need. It surpasses physiological and safety needs, which means it's a lot harder to attain, but it lasts much longer until somebody decides they don't share that mutual agreement. And maybe your trust was misplaced. Maybe it was a narcissistic person who didn't share that mutual bond. Maybe that person's manipulative and left you with the pain of betrayal.
He betrayed me.
I'm not talking about that in this video. You have to consider your contribution to it. There's a saying that it takes two to tango. What was your contribution in this? Because it takes two parties to be involved in a relationship. Were you desperately looking for somebody to attach to? Were you idealizing who they were? Did they fulfill an emotional void that you had? Or did you ignore the warning signs that everybody else saw clearly?
I did warn you not to trust me.
It's easy for people to tell you to get over it.
Move on.
It's much harder when you're actually the one in it. People will brush off your emotions, saying that it's an emotional factor and not logical. In reality, it's our emotions that drive our worldview.
I just finally know what I have to do. And I know in my heart that it's right.
You could argue that values and beliefs dictate your worldview. And these are logical. But how can it be logical when everybody else has a different belief and value system? That clearly shows you there's an emotional component to it. Now, before the breakup, we may have taken that relationship for granted. That person was an extension of who you are. So you're more critical of this person than anybody else. It's the same thoughts that you may have of self-doubt and criticism. Here's an example. Have you ever wanted to learn another language or a new instrument, but you didn't because the self-doubt and criticism in yourself has stopped you every single time? When we're critical of ourselves, it leaks out to the extensions of ourselves. We expect the other person to read our minds perfectly and execute perfectly. But how can we have those expectations when even computers can't even operate on that level? Sometimes our phones that are with us 24 hours a day can't even operate with that efficiency. They can't complete simple tasks we tell them. So how could you have known you were going to react this way? One way to assess this is to see how you react with your daily equipment. This is routine equipment that you use every single day, and when it fails to function, it disrupts your daily life. Think about when was the last time your phone failed you. Maybe the operating system updated automatic and now all your apps crash. How disruptive was this to you? And how did you react in that situation? Homeostasis is a primary physiological need. So when something disrupts that homeostasis of yours, it can easily trigger your anger. Whatever the cause, if you have a negative reaction to something disrupting your homeostasis, you may need to rewire to be more positive. And if you need the skills to help become more positive, check out the 10-day challenge I have in the link. These are daily challenges that help you add a new skill every single day and help you become more positive. This helps rewire the negative thought patterns you have. There are 4 stages of anger: irritation, frustration, hostility, and rage. In fact, most people don't get past the irritation or frustration, but those lower stages can be controlled with exercises that help increase positive mentality. To check it out, click on the link down below. Now, the negative thought patterns you have could slowly push someone away, and it may become a surprise when they eventually do break away from you.
Broke up? Like a band? Like the Beatles?
So now you're left betrayed. But how do you recover? A lot of advice online will tell you that time will heal all wounds. But that's not true. Time only helps you erode the memory, but the pain is still there. It's like a physical wound. When you break a leg, you expect time to heal that wound, and yet we live with the same expectation of emotional pain. The big mistake people make is that they think they can mask the pain with anger, and then they use that anger to drive them. They hope that the physical pain will numb the emotional pain. This is what they mean when they say online, bro's hitting the gym, or he's beginning his villain arc. People use their anger to motivate them.
Never love anything.
I know I was guilty of this. I've had many serious breakups, and the way I dealt with it before was I would go to the gym until I was exhausted. I would hope that the physical pain would numb the emotional pain. And then when it wasn't enough, I would drink at the end of the day, hoping that would also numb the pain. But I couldn't work out 24 hours a day. It wasn't physically possible. And self-help wasn't that helpful either. They would only give you logical approaches. They would say things like, get over it, move on, find a hobby, find someone new. And I would work out for months, hoping the pain would go away, but it wouldn't. And what I wish I knew decades ago is that this advice is missing crucial components. There are two components that are absolutely required to recover from the pain of betrayal: the logical component and an emotional component. The logic is where most of self-help advice lives. That's because it also makes sense. Now, straight out of Stoicism and the Serenity Prayer is control the things you can and ignore the things you can't, and have the wisdom to know the difference. This is a great logical approach, and this exercise can help you recover from the pain of betrayal. But you also need the lessons. Life is about making mistakes and learning from it. It takes two to build a relationship. You have to ask yourself, where were you contributing to the problem? This is where almost all self-help advice drops the ball. They'll say things like, the other person showed their true colors. So they attack the other person, saying that they're to blame. They'll tell you to hate the person, ignore them, and banish them from your entire life.
Forget them. They are lying and they are untrustworthy.
But the problem is, this is a victim mindset. The more empowering mindset is to assume the other person is completely innocent.
This isn't gonna change what happened.
I'm not saying the other person actually is innocent, and I'm not telling you to forgive them. But what I am saying is, for your mental health, assume the person is completely innocent. If they are, what would you do to fix the situation? How would you learn from this? What are the lessons you can extract about yourself?
But I think I'm finally starting to see you for who you really are.
This is far more empowering. It allows you to think about the problems that you contributed. Maybe I'm love bombing people. Maybe I'm too optimistic and I don't see the reality of the situation. Maybe I act prematurely on jealousy and anger. Maybe I'm very critical and I need to change. These are the empowering, logical thoughts that help recover from betrayal. The next component that you want to take care of is the emotional component. Our emotions are somatic responses that are also wired into our minds. This is what they mean when they say butterflies in your stomach, or tingling in your spine, or a heavy heart. This is what they mean when they say feel your emotion. So when somebody breaks up with you or betrays you, it leaves you with the feeling of pain. And almost all people will do everything they can to avoid pain. That's how we're pre-programmed. How the hell do you reprogram that then? Ironically, to recover from the emotions of pain, you have to confront it. And what that means is you have to sit with the somatic experience of that pain. You have to find a quiet place and feel the somatic responses. What do you physically feel in that pain? This isn't a physical battle, but a mental one. When you sit and confront that pain, you begin to recognize it, bring it into the light. That recognition allows you to do two powerful things. One, it allows the emotion to not control you. You don't get sucked into the emotional turmoil. And two, it allows you to logically activate your mind, which also takes you out of the emotional context. And the last thing you could do is you could use that emotion to drive you. Many people hope to be motivated so that one day they could be rich, famous, and retire. Or every new year, people hope to be motivated, lose weight, and look sexy. What they don't realize is that motivation is nothing more than an emotion that's utilized. Our entire life is driven by emotion, but most people don't actively shape it. What you could do in this rare, precious time where you're highly emotional is utilize it. Use your emotions to drive you towards the goal you want. This is incredibly powerful because our bodies are pre-wired to feel happiness. When we start having a goal and we start reaching those micro goals, our body responds by triggering natural testosterone and dopamine. In other words, we start feeling better when we start approaching our goals. So not only are we more successful when we start reaching our goals, but we start feeling better. So find a goal that you want to reach. Figure out what steps you need to take to reach it, and use your emotions to drive the way towards there. Going to the gym to work out isn't inherently bad. In fact, it's amazing. Going to the gym provides progression towards a goal, and that progression has a positive reinforcement. It also helps build a healthy lifestyle and healthy habits. But you need the other aspects of recovery. You need the emotional and the logical component, and that requires recognition and reflection. Once you recover from the pain, then you can start building the skills required to be happy again. Because you can't expect to run a marathon if you still got a broken leg. And I'll cover that in a future video. And until then, I'm Dr. Tank. Never give up on yourself.